All right. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the September 14th legislative session of the
21st.
Village. Thank you. The 21st. Wow, life just keeps marching on. Yes, the 21st, September 21st regular meeting of the Village Board of Trustees. This meeting is now called to order. We'll begin with the pledge.
Flag. Nation. Trustee Bazemore,
Present.
Trustee Quezada,
Present.
and Mayor Garrity.
Present.
Do we have any mayors and trustees announcements?
We do. First, I'd like to let everybody know that on October 6th, it is Organ Donation Day, and the Village of Ossining is joining up with our friends in the town of Ossining to try and make people more aware that there's an opportunity to sign up to become an organ donor. New York State has, I don't have any of the numbers in front of me, but there are thousands of people on the list who are in need of organ transplants, and New York State has the lowest rate of donors. We are 50 out of 50 states when it comes to organ donors. So there's a big push to try and get more people to sign up to be donors. And the day where we're really going to focus on that is October 6th. And there'll be a number of places around the community where you can sign up. We're looking for volunteers to help out with that, as well as you can show up at the community center between 9 and 3, I believe, and that's one of the places where you can sign up to become an organ donor. To learn more about it, you can go to Live On NY is the name of the organization. Also, next week is National Voter Registration Day in downtown Ossining, right on Upper Main Street outside of Health Smart Pharmacy from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. You can very conveniently register to vote. It's been organized by Omar Herrera. Doesn't matter what your party affiliation is. It's just a matter of filling out the forms and sending them in. You can register to vote anytime by getting the form online. Just do a little search for voter registration, and our forms are through the Westchester County Board of Elections. So please be sure that you register to vote. The deadline is coming up in a couple of weeks to be registered in order to vote in the November 8th general election. Anybody else? All right, Madam Clerk.
Might I just add, the Board of Elections also intends to have a voter registration at the community center sometime in October. I've not been given the date certain, but as soon as I do, I'll let everybody know about that.
Great. Thank you.
Move on to administrative reports, and with interim village manager Paul Fraioli.
Thank you, Mary Ann. I'm only going to discuss one resolution this evening, and that would be Resolution E, which is the annual snow and ice agreement that we execute every year with the state. That's an agreement for which the state of New York reimburses the village for snow and ice removal and maintenance during the winter months every year. And every year to date, since I've been here, puts an adjustment in there for severe weather conditions to offset the costs that we may incur for additional salt or additional manpower, additional equipment used to maintain a passable road in the winter months. So thank you in advance for passing that. We have our managers with us this evening, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on other resolutions. I know Lori Lee is going to cover the bulk of the resolutions, and the managers are going to report on a lot of the details on the last month in the village. But unfortunately, Treasurer Warren couldn't be with us this evening, but he did leave me a copy of his report, so I would like to read that in his absence. For September 2016, during the past month, the Finance Department prepared an official statement for investors in order to sell serial bonds of $6,425,000 and a bond anticipation note for $2,079,372 for vehicles, equipment, and capital improvements. The bond proceeds will be for the following purposes: replace, reline water mains, Indian Brook Water Reservoir Dam, Fire Rescue 14 rehabilitation, 2 refuse garbage trucks, reconstruction, resurfacing of streets, sewer jet truck camera, 3 DPW trucks. The band proceeds include some working capital for the Indian Brook Water Reservoir Dam, the Phase 1 engineering services on the new Indian Brook Water Treatment Plant, police vehicle mobile data terminals, plus rollover of prior year bans for some vehicles. In conjunction with the proposed bond and band sale, we prepared for our annual review of village finances and bond rating review with Moody's Investor Services. We did not have to have a review in 2015. Our Moody's review team included interim village manager Paul Fraioli, director of planning and development Lynn Brooks Obney, town assessor Fernando Gonzalez, deputy treasurer Dale Ferrara, and Tom. The bond rating process also included an examination of the following factors: 1, economy and tax base; 2, finances; 3, management matters; and 4, debt and capital projects. And the conference call lasted about an hour, in addition to providing much written information to the Moody's analysts. On September 13, 2016, Moody's Investor Services reconfirmed the village's very high credit rating of AA2 on new and existing debt. It is general knowledge that bonded debt obligations rated in the AA classification are judged to be of high quality and subject to very low credit risks. The only ratings higher than AA2 are AA1 and AAA. The village's bond rating has been assigned as AA2 since Moody's recalibrated its ratings in 2009 and had been increased from A1. The village solicited and opened bids for the bonds and band on September 15th, with the closing next week. 5 bids were received on the 20-year serial bonds, with true interest rates ranging between 2.18% and 2.02%, which is a tight grouping of bids. The low bid at 2.02% was accepted and awarded. The village received 6 competitive bids on the 1-year band, with net interest rates that range from 1.36% to 1.16%. The village accepted the low bid of 1.16%. These low interest rates translate to a lower interest expense in the budget, which benefits the taxpayers of the village. Thank you.
Move on to Corporation Counsel, Lori Lee Dixon.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi.
I have witnesses. You get my claim in the morning. I just wanted to talk about some resolutions that have been put on as a result of your discussions at work session. You'll note the certiorari's are on this evening, and again, those are settlements reached by the town on behalf of the assessor's office at the town. The Code of Ethics is on for adoption this evening. This is it's been a long time coming. I know that Trustee Levin will be happy to see that we're moving this through to the end. I know that she worked tirelessly on being sure that these updates made it through committee and to your desk. So I appreciate you putting it on this evening, and we'll be able to get this put in the code as soon as it's filed with the Secretary of State. So that's wonderful. We also have on this evening the call for a public hearing on the solid waste revisions. That's the chapter in our code on the solid waste. As if you recall, this started from a discussion about the quality of life issues associated with the unsightly mess caused by debris and litter and solid waste being placed or discarded onto various properties. So this will permit the village to undertake enforcement under a strict liability standard. And I just wanted to bring the board up to date on my research on the zombie property provisions, because part of the discussion at work session had to do with whether the property owner could include the mortgage lender who is engaged in foreclosure actions. As you know, the banks very often take title to property at the last possible minute before they assigned that deed to the next owner of the property, usually in a short sale situation. So the New York State legislature actually took action this year and passed a law having to do with mandating the mortgage holders on these zombie or abandoned properties, in holding them responsible for inspection and upkeep under the Property Maintenance Code in the New York State statute provisions. So this is under the Uniform Code, property maintenance. So although we're putting in a strict liability standard under our local solid waste provisions, it doesn't permit us to include those mortgage lenders because the state is actually occupying this field as of the effective date of this would be in December. There actually is, under real property actions and proceedings law, the ability for the local municipality to bring those mortgage lenders to court and to receive civil fines as a result. So we'll have an independent cause of action under the state statute to bring those mortgage lenders. They have a affirmative duty to come and inspect the properties and to be sure that they're kept up. We can demand that to happen under the procedures that are set forth now in real actions and proceedings law in the state statute. So those actions will have to be taken, as you know, under the Uniform Code, Property Maintenance Code. It is an expedited process. The legislature has taken that up at length. I have a call out to NICOM, and I'm getting further guidance on how we can gear up and be ready to do that as soon as this law becomes effective, because that will be a separate process, a separate proceeding. So we don't have the ability to expand the definition of property owner beyond that which we've already placed in the local law.
But we will when New York State has completed this process?
No, it will be a separate process under the state statute. It's an expedited process. This is a local code that we'll be enforcing in our local court, the solid waste provisions that we're changing now. The New York State legislature has seen fit to provide us an opportunity to bring the mortgage holders under a state statute on an expedited process. It's brought in local court, just like ours on the local the chapter, solid waste chapter can be brought. But this will be brought under a real property actions and proceedings law, and I would be able to provide a memo advising the prosecutor how to bring those causes of action after the law becomes effective.
So to put it in layman's terms for me, once this local law is in place, we've changed the code for the quality of life, the sanitation issues. Somebody could write a ticket for the property owner, but regardless of where the state is in their process, we're never going to be able to write a ticket for the mortgage holder if it's the bank, if they don't yet have the
if they
deed.
don't hold title. Since the bank, in all intents and purposes, is standing in the place of the property owner, that's why the state legislature is giving us the ability to bring an expedited process under the New York State Uniform Code, Uniform Property Maintenance Code. As you know...
Isn't that what exists now? It does?
No.
Okay.
There's
Right, you know
no,
what?
there's no opportunity.
It's not going to change our decision-making tonight. We'll figure this out off.
I can provide more of an update at your public hearing, but I just wanted to bring to your attention that I didn't make that change, although I made some of the other changes we had
Okay.
talked about. So
Thank
that's
you.
the reason why. And I will be providing more advice to the board and to the code enforcement folks as we get closer to understanding this other process under the Uniform Code. As you know, we usually have to send an order to remedy, wait 30 days.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're trying to pass this law, so we
Correct.
don't have to do that.
But as it applies to mortgage holders, we won't have to wait that 30 days if we prosecute them under the Uniform Code, which is how we had to
Okay, we can
prosecute.
still skip the order to remedy?
Yes, we'll have an expedited process. We'll make a demand, and then, yes, we don't have to wait the 30 days. There probably will be a notice, which is like an order to remedy, and then the court appearance ticket.
Okay,
More to come. I'll have
Yes.
all the details spelled out for you, and the village will be able to prosecute those in their local court.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Move on to Police Chief Kevin Sylvester.
Good evening. A busy month for the police department. Most of my report today is going to focus around training and outreach. A lot going on, a lot planned for the very near future. 2 weeks ago, I was fortunate enough that the board allowed me to miss the meeting to attend a seminar at the White House, the President's 21st Century Policing Initiative. Some great information there and some fantastic programs that we're going to bring back. Some things they talked about are implicit bias training, which we've heard about in the news quite a bit. We're looking forward to being able to conduct that training in 2017 because it would be a full-scale training for the entire department, so it takes a little bit of planning. Also, some data sharing initiatives, some social media strategizing that they gave to us. Happy to see that the White House has noticed our Facebook page, although they will not follow us. Few officer safety things also, so all in all, a really great opportunity and some good information shared there. Yesterday, I was able to attend the Ossining Basics training with the superintendent of schools. It's a community-wide cooperative early learning program that, interestingly enough, they're involving recreation and police department and all the different aspects of the village. That was a really great program. Inspired me to go home and spend a little extra time reading with my family last night. So looking forward to getting involved in that. That's going to be coming out soon. This week we're rolling out our updated records management system. That'll be completely web-based, which will give all of our officers easier access and make it more efficient from our mobile data terminals. We'll be one of the first departments in the county to get access to that, so we're excited for that. Some outreach stuff coming up. Friday, October 7th is going to be National Coffee with a Cop Day. So you'll see lots of departments conducting those. We will have one ourselves. We're lining up our venue as we speak. But Friday, October 7th, keep an eye on all our social media stuff, and we'll let everybody know when and where that's going to be. We also have our last movie in the park coming up for the year. That's going to be scheduled for October 21st with lots of details and some unique stuff coming with that. So that one's going to be exciting for a Halloween experience for the kids. Also for Halloween, we have we'll be working with Recreation for our annual Halloween celebration, and Superintendent of Rec and I will be getting together tomorrow and doing some more details on that, but should be exciting. Hoping for some new stuff to be added there, and a good opportunity for us to connect with the community.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Superintendent of Parks and Recreations, Christopher Soy.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees.
Good evening.
On the recreation programming front, our fall program planning was in full swing over the summer with our seasonal program brochure being made available to the public on Friday, August 19th. Our fall program registration began on Wednesday, September 7th, and that was for both in-person and our online registrations. We continue to offer many of our most popular programs, but I would like to highlight a couple new adult programs. We have an Exercise Smarter, Not Longer program offered through ICU Fit Training. It's a program that's going to meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting next Tuesday, September 27th from 7:15 to 7:45. It's focused on comprehensive fitness and nutrition program that strives to teach creative and efficient ways to exercise and improve your health. And it does so in a time-sensitive way, half-hour commitment twice a week for a 5-week period. So that's something new we're offering, and that starts next week. We also have an adult pickup basketball program for people ages 25 and up. The program will run on Thursday evenings beginning again next week, September 29th, and will offer informal pickup games organized by a program supervisor on site. I would like to encourage anyone who hasn't registered yet to do so as soon as possible, as many of our fall programs are scheduled to kick off next Monday, and from there, that point on. Please don't wait until the day of to walk in to sign up for a program, as you may find that program has been canceled. Please visit the Recreation and Parks page of the Village website or our Facebook page for department and program updates. And as always, you can call us at 941-3189. Parks and facilities. As part of the fall sports season, our park staff have prepped and continue to maintain the athletic fields and facilities in the parks. The parks crew recently worked with representatives from the JCYS program to install a new temporary outfield fence at Nelson Park Field. The park staff also assisted in the preparation for the Ossining Matters 5K held on September 10th by ensuring the race route was safe, free of any debris, and in good condition. The most significant work we've done the past month was the pool facility cleaning and improvements. The pool, after Labor Day, was drained completely, and the pool and the locker area was closed down for maintenance and repair. The pool was completely drained and acid washed. The surface received some spot repairs and additional attention and repair where staining had occurred over the years. The pool deck and equipment were thoroughly cleaned. The spray deck surface received some repairs. The locker rooms were given a fresh coat of paint, and new fixtures were installed in the showers. Also, the floors outside the pool area, office, and in the halls were stripped and waxed. I would like to acknowledge the hard work put in by our pool and facility team in completing this project. Carlos Urhiles, Leader Velez, Diana Rodriguez, Odell Lowry, John Heitman, Katrina Baker, Debbie Frieder, and along with our additional park staff and pool staff. I'd like to thank them for a job well done. And then special events, we have 2 special events coming up in our fall season. Our Fall Family Fun Day is scheduled for Saturday, October 1st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Market Square. The event is free to all and will include pumpkin painting, face painting, hay rides, pie eating contests, live music, and more. The Halloween event, as the chief had mentioned, is scheduled for Monday, October 31st. This much anticipated annual event will again be held at the Community Center gym. However, we are looking to add some new and exciting activities to this event, so stay tuned and keep an eye out for our flyers and event information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent of Water and Sewers, Andrew Teese.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our Indian Brook Reservoir is at 45%. And that's a good thing because we're in the middle of the construction of the spillway. Last month we were at 70%, so we're intentionally dropping the reservoir level. We're purchasing only 40% of our water from New York City. Last month we purchased 80%. So right now we're at an elevation of 12 feet below the spillway. We need to go an additional 10 feet. And we're currently dropping it about a foot per day so that it's ready for the contractor to install the intake pipes. The contractor, Legacy Valve, is on site. Obviously, they're in the 13th week of construction. We're having progress meetings weekly. The contractor is about 85% complete with the new spillway, and the next phase is to start the excavation of the new raw water intake pipes. Water main relining project is about 95% complete. That's for Tompkins, Elizabeth, Eastern Avenue, Prospect Place, Churchill Street. And Linden. Today we got approval from the health department for taking the bypass piping down. So that's a good thing for parking and for the residents. So the end of next week, we'll start disabling the bypass piping once the additional 17 service lines are installed, and we'll energize the cleaned pipes. Water distribution employees started our 5-year tank cleaning maintenance project this month. They completed the Lakeville tank. Basically, we're cleaning the exterior of these tanks ourselves. And right now they're at Richard Wishney Park, completing those 2 tanks. Our fall hydrant flushing program, that's starting October 3rd. We flush between 9 at night and 1 a.m. It's about 5 weeks. In the past, it used to take 7 weeks, and it would be all night. So just because the water quality is so much better, and because the pipes are cleaner, that whole process happens much faster. Thanks.
Thank you.
Move on to Director of Planning and Development, Lynn Brooks Avenue, excuse me.
Good evening, members of the board.
Evening.
So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. So one of the hot topics these days is the reassessment phase and application and the role of the building department in that. So just to give you a brief update, the assessor has asked the building departments for both the town, the village, and the village of Briarcliff to provide copies of certificates of occupancy, building permits, violations, open permits for their approval for the phase and reassessment for people that have applied for that phase and reassessment. Essentially, it's requiring the building department to issue a predate letter. A predate letter generally requires a visual inspection of the premises, and so properties in the village that have applied for this via the town have likely received a letter from our department telling them to give us a call, and we'll gladly schedule the inspection for them. We are doing it free of charge. Some of the other departments are charging. And so far we've gotten a positive response from the public, but I know that the question's out there. Aside from this, the building department has been very busy with respect to code enforcement. We've been addressing quality of life issues. We've also been partnering, as Corporation Counsel said, with Corporation Counsel, DPW, the village prosecutor, and sanitation to effectively work on a rewrite to portions of Chapter 225, the sanitation code, to give it more teeth and to allow the village to take action when there's quality of life issues. And generally, we're just still trying to partner with our fire department and our police department when we take code enforcement action and to better coordinate our response on call-outs.
Great. Thank you.
Director of Personnel, Linda McMahon.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. First, I'd like to address Resolution F on tonight's agenda. The purpose of the resolution is to authorize the interim village manager to sign the master health plan document. And basically, it's a document that we're required to get updated and printed and distributed by the end of this year because we've had very many changes since 2011. And we've had amendments and required additions to our health plan, and they want to ensure that all the employees and retirees receive a current document. So we're in the process of getting that distributed probably in the next month or so, and from there then we'll be in compliance under the Affordable Care Act. With the rising cost of health care as well, I just wanted to let you know that I've been reaching out to other health insurance providers and brokers regarding healthcare plan costs, and I'm in the process of gathering information as well as setting up meetings and looking at options to produce meaningful comparisons. With the start of the fall comes the restart of our safety programs. Tomorrow, we're making available to affected employees the opportunity to begin the hepatitis B vaccination series. We're partnering with Phelps Hospital to provide the service. And they are and have been a wonderful asset to our safety programs. Next week, all DPW and Parks employees will be attending full-day training on the excavation and trenching safety program, as well as the confined space program. There are approximately 50 employees that will receive the training over the course of 2 days. Last but not least, on October 6th, we will be partnering with Walgreens to offer flu shots to full-time employees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to organizational announcements.
I do. I'm speaking on behalf of the Friends of the Sing Sing Museum, of which I am a member. Today, we had a meeting and we were asked to announce a save the date notification for Sunday, November 6th. There will be an event called Sing Sing Swing, which will be aboard the Hornblower. It will have boarding at 3:30, and the boat will set sail at 4 and come up the river. There will be food, there'll be beverages, and there'll be a swing band on board and dancing. So save the date for November 6th. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
I do have an announcement. On behalf of the President of the Historical Society, the trustees and the officers of the Ossining Historical Society Museum invite you to join us at our 85th annual anniversary dinner and silent auction. It'll be held on Friday, October 14th at 6 p.m. at the Briarcliff Manor, 25 Studio Hill Road. Valet parking is going to be provided. It is $75 per person. Call the museum at 941-0001 to make your reservation. As reservations are limited.
Thank you.
Our village board resolutions. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the September 7th, 2016 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated September 21st, 2016, in the amount of $1,312,127.33.
So moved.
Second.
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the Village of Ossing ceased being a tax assessing unit in 1989, now adopts the Town of Ossing assessment roll as prepared by the assessor of the Town of Ossing for all subsequent years, and where certain tax certiorari proceedings were instituted against the Town of Ossing by 2 petitioners, said proceedings were recently concluded in the Westchester County Supreme Court, resulting in judgments ordering refunds as follows. It's the New York Dealers Stations, 160 South Highland Avenue. The amount is $7,155.80. The Orchid Condominium, 73, 75, and 77 Spring Street, a total of $24,839.12. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossing, upon certification by the village treasurer that all the aforesaid taxes have been paid, hereby authorizes and directs the village treasurer to make the payments of refunds of real property taxes due to Griffin, Coogan, Sulzer, and Horgan in their capacity as attorneys for both petitioners. And it is further resolved that the village treasurer shall make a notation in the margin of the assessment rolls of the Village of Ossing that said assessments were reduced and payments of a refund of the overpayment of real property taxes were made pursuant to said judgment. The total payment for the New York Dealers Stations was $24,839.12. It is the Orchid, $24,839, and the South Highland Avenue was $7,155.80. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
I'd just like to, in the interest of disclosure, let folks know that my husband is a tenant in the 75, 77 Spring Street retail spaces of the Orchid condominiums. And so it was recommended to me by council that I disclose that, but then also for folks to understand that our role here is one of moving paperwork through. It's not a decision-making role in whether or not this was determined or how it was determined. It's handled entirely by the town, their assessor's office, and by their legal staff. So with that, Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adoption of introductory local law number 6, 2016, Code of Ethics. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossing has been considering adoption of introductory local law number 6, 2016, entitled Code of Ethics, local law replacing Chapter 17 of the Village of Ossing Code, and whereas in accordance with the New York State law and after having provided all requisite notice, the Board of Trustees conducted a public hearing on September 7, 2016, 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossing, New York, during which the public had the opportunity to be heard on such proposed local law, and whereas the matter was the topic of further discussion and deliberation at a public meeting on September 14, 2016, following which the board determined there were no impediments to proceeding with adoption of the local law with certain non-substantial revisions. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossing hereby adopts introductory local law 6 as local law number 6, with such adoption to take effective immediately and as otherwise required by law. Be it further resolved, the village directs said local law number 6, 2016 to be filed and or distributed in accordance with applicable law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Well, I'll comment on this. I don't know if anybody else would like to as well. I'm very pleased for us to be able to move this forward today. This is at the recommendation of the current or past Board of Ethics that we update our Code of Ethics. Previously, it didn't even acknowledge that complaints could be made by email. There were really a lot of updates to be made, and it was their recommendations which we said that we would take care of about a year and a half ago. So I'm very pleased that it's moved through the subcommittee all the way through the legal department and is now before us. And I look forward to it being incorporated into all of the information that's provided to the employees. And it's certainly all of us on the board are now pretty well aware of what it includes. And so hopefully we'll be mindful of it each day as we fulfill our duties. Madam Clerk.
It's a roll call vote. Trustee Bazemore?
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Hope.
Trustee Quezada?
Aye.
Mayor Garrity?
Aye.
Sorry.
Certainly.
And I definitely thank everyone that worked on this. I think it's important for us to have a document that's up to date. I know it's another, I guess the last item is that we are going to be looking for people to fill the positions. And if we can post something in our website and probably be part of our email blast, I would like to, we can put something together. The one member that is standing in there right now, additional minimum 3, definitely 5, and just a description, because I believe one of them doesn't have to be a resident of the Boston, but that's important.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah, it's going from a board of 3 to a board of 5, and they will all be, none of them will be employees of the village, whereas in the past there had been one that was an appointed corporation counsel. So there are definitely some opportunities for people to be appointed there, and one of them does not have to be an attorney, as I think actually up to 2 of them may reside outside of the village of Austin. As many as, it doesn't have to be, but that allows us to have that many more people engaged in the process. So yes, we look forward to people raising their hand and saying they want to serve in this way, and if they are interested, they should send their letter of interest and their resume to the interim village manager, Frioli at villageofossining.org. I think I still need to vote, or do I?
No, you voted.
I voted? Okay.
Yes, you did.
Usually I vote last. We went left to right. Okay, very good.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby authorizes the village manager to execute an agreement to extend the indexed lump sum municipal snow and ice agreement with New York State Department of Transportation, 85 Route 100, Katona, New York, for a period of 1 year through and including June 30th, 2017. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the village manager of the Village of Ossining is hereby authorized to sign the 2016 Village of Ossining POMCO Health Insurance Master Plan document to incorporate amendments and mandates of the Affordable Care Act implemented since 2011. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street in Ossining on October 5th, 2016, at 7:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard. Consider the matter of introductory local law number 7, 2016, entitled Amendment to Solid Waste Regulations, local law revising certain regulations pursuant to the collection of solid waste, garbage, trash, litter, recycling, etc., and clarifying that the enforcement of such regulations shall be based upon a strict liability standards as against the property owners. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas for the benefit of the public, the Village of Ossining has arranged for the payment of certain transactions in departments within the Village of Ossining through the use of customers' credit cards, and whereas an amendment is necessary to the 2016 fee schedule as adopted by the Ossining Board of Trustees January 6, 2016, in order to set forth the details regarding the mandatory collection by the village of a pass-through convenience in connection with any credit card transactions against the law for the village to pay the convenience fee on behalf of the customer. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby calls for clarifying language to be inserted into the 2016 fee schedule explaining the legal obligations of the village to collect a pass-through convenience fee from all customers using a credit card for transactions at village offices and an amount equivalent to the administration and processing fee that is charged by the credit card processor to the village. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board? Well, I'm just delighted that we're making it a little easier for people to pay their bills. Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas Julius W. Caulfield came to the Village of Ossining at the age of 28 in August of 1939 to take the helm as pastor of the Star of Bethlehem Church, a responsibility he would undertake with dignity and distinction for the next 33 years. And whereas Reverend Caulfield's importance to the village as a dedicated spiritual and civic leader, including his tireless efforts towards social justice, is widely known and appreciated by the entire community. And whereas the Board of Trustees, in full agreement with village historian Dana White's assessment that, quote, he gave the best years of his life to Ossining, desires to recognize Reverend Julius W. Caulfield and his accomplishments with the designation of an honorary street name. Therefore, be it resolved that the section of street officially designated in the Village of Ossining records as Broad Avenue between Spring Street and State Street shall be designated with the honorary name of Reverend J.W. Caulfield. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the board, would anybody like to comment on this? Had a lovely discussion with members of the Star of Bethlehem last week at the work session, and we heard from village historian, as referenced here, Dana White, on many of the contributions from Reverend Caulfield over the years. And I believe we're going to have an unveiling coming up later this fall, and I look forward to many of us participating. I know that Deputy Mayor Codman was disappointed not to be here tonight to be able to pass this resolution, but I'm sure we'll all look forward to attending the actual unveiling. Anybody else like to comment on this before we vote? The precise name as it's going to appear on the sign may be tweaked a little bit before it goes out to the printing, but I think we all get the gist of what it's going to say. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby places Andrew Hankin on driver's training for the Fire Department. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the board. Madam Clerk.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby places Daniel Plotka on driver training for the Fire Department. Do I
So
have a
moved.
motion?
So
Second.
moved.
On the board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby places Charles Bryant on driver training for the Fire Department. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon the recommendation of the Fire Chief, Jail Pedro Anjo, Tyler Riley, Travis Carlson, and Justin Carlson of Austin, New York, transferred their membership from Senate Hook and Ladder to Washington Hook and Ladder. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved the general fund budget is modified to appropriate monies from the general fund contingency account for special legal services as follows. Increase general fund appropriations, account number 001-1420-0458, law, special legal services, $50,000. Total increase to general fund appropriations, $50,000. Decrease general fund appropriations, 001-1990-0400, account $50,000. Total decrease to general fund appropriations, $50,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby appoints Relman, Dane, and Colfax P. LLC, 1225 19th Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C., as special counsel to the village and authorizes interim village manager to execute an agreement formalizing the relationship. Said agreement subject to review and approval by corporation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have any continuing business of the board?
Do not.
Do we have any new business of the board?
I believe we do. Corporation Counsel is looking at the chief. Is this going to be a tag team presentation?
It is a tag team presentation. We took a call from the department, much like we did when the officers were helping us to assist clarifying language with regard to open container violations. We took a call from the department and we sprung into action, and we have created an opportunity to look at a local law to assist the department further. And I'll hand it over to the chief to explain.
So recently we've been hearing from a lot of residents on Main Street about quality of life issues, and it's been a big effort from our department to try and address some of those. Some of the things that we're hearing about are things like public urination, which we've been actively addressing, specifically surrounding some of the bars that are open at nighttime, where it's a frequent problem. Recently, we've ran into some difficulty in the court with prosecution of those tickets. specifically for the reason that we didn't have direct legislation locally to address that particular problem. So our push right now is going to be to get a very specific local ordinance to address public urination in order to enforce those quality of life things and try and improve the residences and businesses on Main Street and the surrounding area.
So we've drafted, as a result of our discussions, we've drafted an amendment to Chapter 194, which is entitled Peace and Good Order. This is an opportunity for us to add this specific prohibition in a way that makes it clear to both the court and to the individuals who would be subject to enforcement. So I'm proposing that we put this on as new business and hold a public hearing and start to circulate the draft of the local law in accordance with rules and mandates.
Can we just clarify? It's not okay to publicly urinate right now, and it never has been. There's a reason we're explicitly stating it going forward.
There seems to be some legal question with the court. I wasn't present when that happened. We will continue to enforce it. If there's some dispute over how those tickets are written or the specific language to them, that's going to have to be addressed in court itself, but we will continue to enforce public urination as it is not okay to do.
Okay, so this change in language is just going to make it even easier for
It makes
to
it
be
easier for us
enforced.
to enforce. It'll just make it very specific and eliminate any legal roadblocks that might exist in the court or otherwise. But it doesn't change the legality of the actual action. It just makes it easier for us to enforce.
Yes, we did take a look at this. Chief Sylvester had suggested we take a look at White Plains ordinance. We just wanted to remind the public that much like we were doing, we were enforcing this under the solid waste chapter, which is how New York City actually enforces this. But our court objected to that wording and that action. So now we're making it abundantly clear in the code. So there'll be no question going forward. So I would like to call for a public hearing on this, and I drafted a proposed resolution, and I'm hoping that you would see fit to pass a resolution calling for a public hearing on the same evening as your solid waste. Just as it happens to be, on the same evening you'll be holding your solid waste local law. That would be October 5th. So I would like to call for a public hearing, a motion to call for a public hearing on Wednesday, October 5th at 7:30 or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Birdsall-Fagan Police Court Facility, Spring Street, New York, Ossining, New York, for discussion and a hearing on Introductory Local Law Number 8 of 2016, entitled An Amendment to Chapter 194, Peace and Good Order. So we have a motion.
So move.
Second.
On the board. My only question would be, Lori Lee, that every time when we do call for a public hearing, we provide online for people to be able to review what it is that they may want to comment on, correct?
Yep, both of these will be uploaded tomorrow. I've already given copies to the clerk's office, so she'll have them in hard copy and available in her office as well.
Excellent, thank you very much.
So-
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a motion to adjourn, and if you wouldn't mind, I would like to have you adjourn the meeting in the memory of Bobby Williams, who was one of our local residents who, at least 25 years, never missed a village, town, or school board meeting. Sadly missed.
So moved.
Second.
On the board. Yes, thank you very much.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And with that, we thank you and we for joining us this evening. And we invite you to tune in next week when we have our work session. We'll be back at Village Hall, 16 Croton Avenue, October 28th. Meanwhile, we have some local laws to be reviewing. This meeting is adjourned. So that we can adjourn to executive session to discuss personnel.
So moved.
Second.
On the board, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're back in our public meeting. Can we have a motion to move into executive session to discuss issues of personnel related to specific persons?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With that, we're really going to adjourn. Thank you very much. Good evening.